Nature is beautiful and astonishing. Many of its phenomena look like true miracles, even though they can be explained by the laws of biology, physics, or chemistry. In this fascinating compilation, you'll see a variety of captivating events that were caught on camera by accidental witnesses. Stay tuned! The Eye of the Sahara, a giant geological structure in Mauritania with a diameter of up to 40 kilometers. It's one of the most impressive natural formations visible even from orbit. Chinese tourists are going all out, ignoring safety protocols. Fire in a geothermal spring is dangerous because it can ignite spontaneously and the intensity is hard to predict. This isn't an alien invasion, it's what leftover rocket fuel looks like as it burns in the atmosphere after a space launch. A solid understanding of physics and chemistry can make you look like a magician, at least in the eyes of others. The scorpion has a black coloration, however, under ultraviolet light, its exoskeleton turns blue-green. Scientists believe this feature helps them hunt more effectively. This mesmerizing beauty isn't deep in the jungle, but in Washington State. Olympic National Park covers over 1,100 square miles and boasts an abundance of exotic plants. A mesmerizing sight, a circular rainbow. To appear, it requires a high concentration of fine water droplets and sunlight at just the right angle. An example of natural fluorescence, during mating season, female tropical fish use this method to attract males. A phenomenon known as St. Elmo's fire, it occurs during high electric field intensity and usually appears as a blue, green, or violet glow. A massive sequoia whose trunk has begun to deform under its own weight. Compared to this giant, people look like tiny bugs. Although that river color might seem alarming, it's most likely caused not by chemicals or industrial waste, but by the natural blooming of microalgae.
Sudah nyampe di kota ya Pamekasan, alirannya dari dam gelap.
This rare optical phenomenon is called a perihelion. It occurs when sunlight passes through ice crystals in the upper layers of the atmosphere. The light refracts, creating glowing twins on either side of the real sun. One of the most incredible amphibians is the axolotl. This salamander has a phenomenal ability to regenerate. It can regrow not just lost limbs, but also lungs, the heart, spinal cord, and even parts of its brain. Even the most hardened skeptics, seeing something like this, can't help but wonder, could it be a portal to another world? Unfortunately, we haven't learned to read minds yet, so the true motives of this bird will remain a mystery to us. Yosemite Falls, a giant staircase of water cascading from nearly 740 meters straight into the heart of one of America's most beautiful parks. This place looks like an artist's fantasy come to life. Bright flags, temples, and mountains create an incredibly vivid picture. An amazing example of mimicry, when this butterfly folds its wings, it's indistinguishable from a dry leaf. A solar halo forming in the troposphere, it appears as sunlight refracts through the microscopic ice particles suspended in the air. This creature is called a glass shrimp or ghost shrimp. Though it only lives for about a year and a half, it's quite popular among aquarists, primarily for its unusual appearance. It may seem like the girl is cradling an alien. In fact, it's a silicone doll with multiple mechanical drives that animate its moving parts. Those who design alien creatures don't have to start from scratch, just take a look into the ocean depths. This tree can emit methane, which ignites at high temperatures. Such a small fire can burn for a very long time. This area has an extremely strong magnetic field, strong enough to hold up a large metal rod. None of our editorial team could say for sure what this substance is, but its behavior is fascinating. If you know what it is, please share in the comments. An unusual phenomenon, burning natural gas emerging from the ground inside a waterfall. If left undisturbed, this process can go on indefinitely, which is why this fire is called eternal.
Check this out. This is an eternal flame. There's only 9 eternal flames in the entire world, and this one's inside of a waterfall. Take a look.
A large colony of wasps hiding among the rocks. It's unclear why the insects are behaving this way, but for now, they don't seem interested in building a nest or foraging. Horseshoe crabs, which can rightfully be called living fossils.
Horseshoe crabs here. These guys are so neat. Look at them climb up into my little hand.
This isn't just a fluffy little ball, it's a cluster of mealybugs. These tiny insects suck sap from plants and cover themselves with a white waxy coating to survive. This living carpet isn't something strange, it's flounder raised in artificial conditions. And we're moving on at the speed of light. All the most interesting things are still ahead. People who are afraid of frogs would likely be in for a real shock if they found themselves in a place like this. Against the backdrop of Norway's endless snowy expanses, a huge herd of reindeer moves like a living wave. He barely stretched before a dust whirlwind rose right before his eyes, appearing suddenly and vanishing just as quickly as if it had never been. Skydiving impresses not only with an adrenaline rush, but with the breathtaking views from a bird's eye perspective. Due to the absence of air movement, the smoke from this chimney rises perfectly vertically. Just look at the length of the plume it creates. The circle in the sky is called a halo. It forms when sunlight refracts through microscopic ice crystals in the upper troposphere. This condition is called asteroid hyalosis. Cholesterol particles settle in the eye's vitreous body, making it difficult to see the world clearly. This mineral ignites upon contact with the steel bucket of the excavator. Judging by the operator's calm demeanor, he's probably used to it by now. A fascinating sight, the boundary of falling rain. Due to the lack of wind, it remains still, allowing this unique moment to be captured on camera. This kind of halo occurs when sunlight reflects off microscopic ice particles lifted by the wind. It looks like a portal to a better world. Gas accumulated in the lower layers of a bog ignites upon contact with air, a great way to make fire if you forgot your matches. A tree filled with a large amount of water inside. Rare, but not unique, this occurs mostly in regions with very humid climates.
But you never seen that before.
And this is a king cobra with trash stuck to its head. No need to believe in mysticism, reptiles don't grow fur. This phenomenon, though rare, does occur. This dog has a split nose, which slightly alters its appearance, but doesn't stop it from being a good boy. A female praying mantis laying eggs. She deposits them layer by layer in a foamy substance secreted by a special gland, from which larvae will soon hatch. Due to its unique characteristic, this perennial plant is called the sensitive mimosa. Its leaves, which have pulvini responsible for movement and sensitive receptors, fold up when touched. The sun hidden behind a cloud, it looks like a gateway to heaven.
It was so cool! It's hard to comprehend how this is even possible.
Spotting a blue lobster is incredibly rare. The odds are extremely low, about 1 in 2 million. A massive school of herring. When swimming in unison, the fish form intricate, synchronized patterns. A tiny octopus desperately trying to hide from danger. To become an adult, it has a long and tough journey ahead.
This is so weird.
Nothing supernatural here, just a horned viper with unusually developed head protrusions. There are many species of jellyfish in nature, and some are astonishing in size, from domes as large as a human to tentacles stretching dozens of meters. A massive landslide that occurred in early March in India shocked not only with its scale, but also with its speed. Here's what happens to a muddy puddle during a mild earthquake. Looks strange and a bit unsettling, doesn't it?
Oh my god. Oh guys,
A collapse of a sand cliff more than 60 meters high, several layers break off under their own weight, exposing the ones beneath. Yet another tree burning from within, it'll extinguish only once all the methane trapped inside the trunk burns out. This sand contains a high amount of iron, giving it ferromagnetic properties. Under electromagnetic induction from a live cable, its structure changes shape. The dog looks completely stunned by the beauty of the butterflies that suddenly turn the air into a living cloud.
What an incredible footage! We always strive to choose the best content for you.
This horse definitely knows how to keep a beat. Living beings sometimes reveal astounding abilities when placed in extreme situations. No matter how tough things get, the main thing is, don't lose your head. This seal only looks chubby. Like a cat, it can squeeze through any opening that fits its head. Being an animator is a fun profession that brings joy to others. This woman is operating a carnivorous plant puppet with her right hand, although it appears to move on its own. Yet another moment showing the edge of a rainstorm, just enough to wash the cars and water the trees, nothing more needed. The roots of these pines are intertwined, forming a solid layer but not penetrating deep into the soil. Under strong wind, this creates the effect seen here. This bamboo stalk has sprouted an enormous number of shoots, so many in fact that the plant looks almost alien. Another similar case, here decomposition has affected the outer part of the trunk, creating visible gaps.
That is the craziest I've ever seen. It's hollowed out the tree.
This mud may look gross, but it's very beneficial for health. So much so that many tourists are eager to bury themselves in it completely. Fish of the species Carassius auratus can change color during their juvenile stage, although they rarely do. Once sexually mature, they lose this ability.
It's fat too.
A swarm of flying ants overtook a store in China, a frightening sight, but actually a normal seasonal event in Southeast Asia. Cars have turned into makeshift hotels for winged guests. The Asian lady beetle, a bug native to East Asia, was deliberately introduced to North America and Europe for biological pest control. However, when they reproduce excessively, they start displacing native species, invade homes in search of winter shelter, and can even bite humans. Let's hope that's just a weirdly shaped branch and not something that escaped from the Jurassic era. What kind of soil is this? The moment it absorbed moisture, it turned into a natural trampoline. An earthquake of this magnitude is terrifying, and for good reason. When the ground starts shaking beneath your feet, walls crack, and your familiar world collapses. Fear becomes not just an emotion, but an instinct. When the water is warm, deep, and full of food, catfish feel right at home and gather in large numbers. A beach cafe sounds like a dream. The sound of waves, warm breeze, sunsets from the veranda, but one strong storm, and not even a spoon may be left of that idol. Strong winds at the airport aren't just a challenge for pilots, they paralyze all operations. Planes can't land, ground equipment nearly takes off on its own, and workers have to cling to anything they can to stay in place. This forest in China looks as if it came straight out of a magical winter fairy tale. This is what the formation of a needle ice underwater looks like, a mesmerizing sight, as if the water itself is weaving crystal needles.
There are things that are absolutely impossible to believe, and how could this even happen?
Modern art has a way of both inspiring and baffling at the same time. Driving across this shallow water makes it feel like the sky has fallen to the ground, an ideal place for a stroll and some deep reflection. A zone with abnormal electromagnetic activity. Hair long enough will literally stand on end here. A perfect spot for dramatic filming, don't you think? A hollow tree inhabited by a colony of wild bees. Despite being wild, the honey they produce is quite decent, indistinguishable from that made in a typical hive. A mirage doesn't only occur in vast desert landscapes. Here, for example, is a small localized mirage caused by the temperature difference between sunlit and shaded areas. A spring has found its way out through the trunk of a large tree. This phenomenon is remarkable enough to become a local attraction. Localized rainfall concentrated in a very small area. The owner of the black car clearly needs a personalized weather forecast. Trees continue to grow even though half of their roots are no longer anchored in the soil. A strong enough wind could certainly topple them. An unusual but natural phenomenon. Heat has ignited enzymes released by wood during decomposition. You can't just go swimming when this many fish wash ashore. A perfect opportunity to feel like a legendary fisherman with an epic catch. At first glance, it looks like the water stream is frozen. In reality, due to the absence of external disturbance and the perfect balance of forces, it holds its shape.
Olha isso, rapaziada. Temperatura cai, Essas piscinas de plástico são muito comuns nessas saídas, né, de dreno. Olha aí como é que ficou. Será que tá frio?
Modern art isn't always easy for the average person to understand. Take, for example, insects suspended on a fishing line, forming a series of perfect cubes. One careless click and the platform turns into the epicenter of a foam disaster where even airplanes get lost in the clouds.
And how do you like such a twist? To be honest, I can't do without your comments here.
Perfectly chosen time and location, a wall of rain rapidly approaching the camera operator. An abnormal jellyfish accumulation on one of Cuba's beaches looks incredibly unpleasant. I definitely wouldn't risk swimming here. A hornet strike team preparing for flight. Adult hornets perform such maneuvers to check the coordination of their actions. A rare natural phenomenon called ice balls, it occurs under specific conditions during the freezing of sea and occasionally lake or river water. Termites are among the most organized and industrious insects on the planet. Their colonies resemble well-oiled machines where everyone knows their role. Yet another fire inside a hollow tree trunk. The blaze is so intense that even the surrounding grass has been burned. At first glance, this may look like a glitch in the Matrix. In reality, the bird is perched on an ultra-thin wire that the camera can't capture clearly in such lighting. Thousands of by-the-wind sailors were washed ashore in Menorca, Spain. Seeing something like this in the sky makes you realize how little we truly know about the world we live in. Seems like they're preparing for some kind of bird tug-of-war tournament. Such synchronized movement is not only beautiful, but also effective. A predator can easily get lost in this living whirlpool.
To be honest, I'm speechless after witnessing it. What about you?
There's probably a physical explanation for this. Surface tension, dust, or static electricity. Such an abundance of mollusks is impressive, as if the rocks themselves have grown a shell of hundreds of tiny shells. Scary? Definitely. But don't panic, it's just a baby owl. When an armadillo curls into a ball, it becomes extremely hard to harm. It can remain in this state for a long time until it feels the danger has passed. They say you can watch water forever, and this place seems to be made to prove that saying. This phenomenon looks like a scene from the old horror film Tremors. In reality, there's nothing mystical here. The shifting of the tiles on the promenade is caused by air bubbles triggered by sea waves. Another example of shivering earth moving under the influence of tree roots. The sungquan tree, native to the Philippines, has some fascinating properties. Its core forms a cross shape, which is why locals often use its wood to make amulets. Another example of mimicry for scaring predators, it may look like a snake, but it's actually a caterpillar. Handling yellow phosphorus requires extreme caution. The substance can ignite spontaneously upon contact with air. Greta Thunberg would be very upset by this treatment of animals. This cicada didn't spend a year underground as a larva just to be used as a bicycle bell. With this much fish around, you don't need a fishing rod. A net, or better yet, a sack, would be much more effective. Underground water found its way out through the hollow trunk of this tree. Once the flooding ends, the phenomenon will likely stop. Look creepy, especially in the evening, but they're not real. It's an art installation created for tourist entertainment. Another amazing example of mimicry, this camouflaged stick insect trying to hide from danger is indistinguishable from a twig. Remarkably delicate work by rescuers, this adorable dog, stuck inside a hollow tree trunk, couldn't be freed any other way.
That's a fur.
Trees striving for sunlight don't care about obstacles. This one, for instance, managed to grow right through a car's alloy wheel. A frame for blowing giant soap bubbles. Watch how quickly ice crystals form on the water during a hard freeze. A biologist's work is not only difficult, but also fascinating. Sometimes they must identify truly bizarre organisms which, due to genetic mutations, barely resemble their species. This installation looks like the profile of an eagle's head. From the front, you can see it's actually made from random scrap the sculptor had on hand. A massive colony of crabs on the move. If anyone crosses their path, they'll get devoured without a second thought. An intriguing installation, a fully disassembled race car. Even without technical knowledge, you can easily tell where each part fits. Releasing this many identical smoke rings requires skill and a special talent. Sadly, they don't last long. The life of a fisherman is dangerous and full of challenges. On every trip, there's no telling what the sea has in store. Some finds are so shocking, it's hard to believe such creatures share a planet with us. A magnificent sculpture, a gorilla made entirely from small components. Imagine how long it took to build. This isn't just a race, it's a true parade of power, speed, and precision. He should have been more careful with the fugu fish. It not only inflates and displays spikes when threatened, but also contains a deadly toxin. Stunning coordination, not a single unnecessary movement, as if they had rehearsed for weeks. Thanks to drone footage, we now have a chance to see the scale of many processes and phenomena in ways that were simply impossible before. At first glance, just an ordinary street, but why are so many people sitting inside rusty metal rings? What kind of strange ritual is unfolding right in the middle of the city? This is one of the most mysterious and inexplicable scenes ever captured on camera. Looks like this wasn't just a breeze, but a real gust, one strong enough to arrive suddenly and leave behind a very visible trail. A dam water release is both mesmerizing and terrifying, a true display of nature's raw power. It's no wonder that pipes get clogged. Sometimes they collect a whole warehouse of waste, hair, grease, and all sorts of debris. What captivates isn't just the sound, but how every part of this instrument moves.
If you haven't liked this episode yet, now is the best time to do it.
Is this the result of someone's strange rituals or just an abandoned place with a creepy history? Discoveries like this raise way more questions than they answer. The majestic and massive whale shark, gliding leisurely through the water accompanied by its entourage.
And our episode has come to an end, and we hope that you enjoyed watching this video. We look forward to your questions and comments. Thank you for always being with us.